Well, the grind continues. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about my thoughts around working on the backswing, how it can have an effect on your downswing, and have we got enough time in our downswing to even think about what we're even trying to do, but can we use our backswing to help deliver the club in the right place? Well, welcome to the channel, everybody. We're just out on the practice ground doing some work with HackMotion. It's something that I've been working on throughout 2025 just to see if there's things that I can improve on. And I've certainly seen some improvements, certainly in my pitching game, which I've really focused on using HackMotion. There'll be a video which will pop there for you, which you can have a little look at. But just hitting a few shots to warm up with, and I always tend to put the HackMotion system on certainly in warm up, because in warm up you're focusing more on just getting loosened up, aren't you? You're not thinking about your golf swing too much. Therefore, it can really highlight some of your traits that you have, which are maybe things that you need to consider working on. But it's taken me 6 shots when I've been warming up to get my wrist position in the place that I feel comfortable with. Not comfortable with, but things that I've been working on to try and get it to feel comfortable for me, which gives me the perfect position in my mind of where I want to be at the top of my swing. So shot 1, I'm 2 extended by 5. Shot 3, I've worked on it. I'm extended by 3. Shot 3, I'm extended by 7. Shot 4, I'm extended by 8. And shot 5, I'm extended by 10. However, I'm finally in the green when I get into shot 6. So what am I actually talking about when I'm mentioning things like what I'm working on in my backswing is then going to have an effect on what happens in my downswing? Well, if you watch a lot of golf on TV, you'll see players really zone in on their takeaway positions and trying to get themselves into the right position in the backswing. And one of the main reasons that they're focusing on this is because if you think about it, the backswing is a lot slower in its transition to the top than it certainly is in that compared to the explosive move that we've got down into impact and then obviously through to target. And if you're going to try and think about what you're doing on the downswing, I'm sorry to say that you're going to have a real tough challenge to do that, because your brain cannot process that fast, because the downswing happens within literally a split second, and you're already then into impact and then you're through. So this is why I think it's so important to get the backswing right and get yourself into the correct positions in the backswing, which then allows you to be able to just turn onto the golf ball and work yourself through into this kind of downswing and in through impact. So for me personally, having the wrists and the club face in the correct position at the top of my backswing is going to allow me just to turn onto the shot, and then I don't have to think about having to kind of save the shot on the way through. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on what I mean by saving the shot. So I always sort of think about, where is the club face at impact? Are we coming in an open, more of an open position and closing down, or are we in a closed position and then trying to open up? Depending on the player's going to we're all going to deliver it slightly differently. For me personally, which you'll see from a clip that we're just about to show you now, which is me playing a game of golf with Rasmus Nedergaard Pedersen at Stoke Park, there was an awful lot of people around us. I wasn't nervous about playing with Rasmus because I've played with lots of very good players over the years, but I was just a little bit anxious with all the people that were kind of around us that had cameras, that were agents, that were representatives of Under Armour, things like that. And it just kind of puts you on edge. We were coming up to the last hole of the day for us, and we had a long par 3 coming in, and you see from Rasmus's shot, he's played a wonderful shot into there. However, my shot...
What would you like me to hit? I can hit a 3-iron, or...
I feel like this is going to be a lot of bat. 212, you said?
I just feel like it's coming in slightly now.
Yeah. Oh, Rasmus, sorry. I feel like I'm... No, I'm sorry, mate. I've left you with a tricky one there. What I've not done there is I've not managed the club face on the way down, which is something that I'm very good at doing in any normal kind of situation, because what happens is I'm somebody that tends to kind of cup the wrist at the top of the swing a little bit. My club face gets a little bit open at the top, and then I have to manage that on the way down. And don't get me wrong, on my good days, I can manage that absolutely no problem. But it just showed that under some serious pressure for myself, once my mind gets away from trying to think about where my wrist positions are and where my club is at the takeaway, I then lose kind of all sync and then the face stays open as I come through impact because I want the shot over and done with as quickly as possible, and therefore I end up in a bit of trouble. So that kink in my armoury is shown really heavily when it comes in a pressure situation. And I think that if I can focus on this kind of takeaway position, having that more time to be able to position my hands in the right place, position my club face in the right place, it's going to give me all the time that I need coming into impact to make sure I get the correct strike and the correct face position. So something that I've been working on, probably more with my wedges than I have, let's say, my long clubs, but I'm also kind of focusing on it at the same time, is I'm thinking about where my kind of club is on the way back and where my wrist positions are on the way back. But the great thing about working with this HackMotion system is that I'm able to kind of have a visual in front of me. So as you can see from the sort of screen record that I've got there on the right hand side, you can see that where my setup position is. So if I get myself into a more kind of flexed position, and if I almost like overcook it in my kind of practice drills, I then can kind of work through the swing, and you can see shot 8 underneath there. I still am +4 flex, so I'm really focusing hard on trying to keep it more extended, sorry, +4 extended. So I'm trying to just get the sense of trying to get the club face to square a little bit more, feeling as though I'm a little bit more flexed. This is my wrist kind of moving here. You can see that number moving. And then by the time I get to the top of the swing, you can see there, if I cup it, it goes more extended. If I kind of feel like I'm bowing it, it gets a little bit more flexed from there. So I can kind of think about that in my drilling, taking it away, and then I can get into the full swing, but I'm getting the sensation on the way back. And because I've got that time in the backswing to think about it, I can then just turn through the shot. See, the strike is a different strike altogether, and even that one there, +1, still slightly extended there. I'm working really hard on trying to keep that as flat as I possibly can at the top to get me into a more neutral position, which is going to in turn keep my club face in a more neutral position. But you can see that, all right, I'm pretty good at +1, but there's still work to be done, and that felt really kind of bowed over as I got to the top of my swing. I think the great thing about working with this system is I don't need lots of golf balls. I don't have a great deal of time for practicing, to be honest with you. You know, when I was head pro at Torquay Golf Club, I used to have the studio right next to the kind of shop, and all I would do was nip down into the studio with the quad, and I would hit some balls, you know, 3 or 4 balls, just to have an idea of where my numbers are during, you know, just that tiny little session, or that kind of 5-minute break that I had to go down and hit some shots. And this is the thing, isn't it? You know, the tour players have got the time to go and spend 8 hours a day hitting golf balls. You know, that's kind of what they do. That's their job. And therefore, if you do have a few niggles in your swing, you can iron them out pretty quickly. And remember, they've got coaches that follow them around and do all those things with them. So if you're somebody that doesn't, let's say, have the time to go and have lots of lessons, have lessons, absolutely. But if you don't have a lot of time, you're not able to get into the groove when you're practicing and feel and reel. And this is what I think has been so impressive with using this system and trying to get into those positions that allow you to be able to control the face on the way through. Feel and reel. And ultimately, the instant feedback that you're getting from the system is just allowing me to be able to sort of, well, get to the bottom of exactly what the kind of problems are for me. And I know, because my wedge game has improved so much, that if I can continue to work on this and just have a little look every now and then to see exactly where I am and almost like recalibrate myself, I'm definitely feeling like I'm going to be able to shoot better scores under pressure, which is the most important factor there. So this is obviously just what I'm kind of working on or thinking about, but I think probably the message from this video is kind of focus maybe more on the backswing position and try and use your backswing and the time in your backswing, certainly in your practice time, to just think about where you're positioning that club, because I can guarantee you that whatever you're doing in the backswing is going to have a massive knock-on effect of what you're doing on the downswing. So take some time to focus on your backswing, use that time to be able to control that club on the way back, get it into the right positions, focus on that, and that'll allow you to be able to manage it correctly on the way down. Like I said, that's just the way I'm working on HackMotion to help me with my game. I'd like to hear down in the comments how you're using it to help with your game. And if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you again on the next video.